In this video, we'll discuss how our fear-driven ego often shapes our decisions and keeps us trapped, and how we can embrace joy to become free again. I'll share my breakup story to inspire you to move from fear to joy and rediscover your true self. Definitely don't miss the powerful message at the end about embracing change and having a more fulfilling life.
Hi lovely people, I'm Elena and welcome to my magical world. I'm super excited to be here talking about change because it's a very important topic, and the setting that I have chosen is perfect for me because this is my Brazilian summer house where I have really grown. It has really fueled my spiritual growth especially. It is a place where I started doing plant medicine, which has totally transformed my way of looking at spirituality. When we talk about change, I want to start by saying that there are two ways through which we can look at it. Through the lens of the ego, meaning fear, or through the lens of the self, meaning through joy and excitement. So the ego is the reality that we project towards the world. It is the identity that we have forged for ourselves, which is conditioned by our mind, because the ego is the center of our consciousness, but also by external factors like family and the social setting we've grown up in, and so on and so forth. Most people make decisions through the lens of the ego, but we need to know that the ego is only a small part of our identity. Because our full identity can be captured by the concept of the self, which is much broader and also includes our unconscious. And when we think about the goal that the ego and the self have in mind, these are very different goals, and this can be applied to change as well. The ego has, and as an end goal, our safety, our survival. It is scared of making changes because a change means leaving the comfort zone, tapping into the unknown. It is a risk. It could be potentially dangerous. So the ego wants to make us stay in our comfort zone and in our routine, literally. But what it is missing out on is the goal that the self has, which is our growth, our expansion as a human being on this earth. Most people make decisions through the lens of the ego, which in turn produces fear rather than excitement and joy. And before we move on with the video, I want to officially introduce the sponsor for this video, Lupa, which is my dog here in Brazil. She has been the most supportive sponsor, accompanying me on this journey of transformation and expansion. Look at Lupa processing all the information contained in my laptop. Very, very focused on the speech that we're about to produce. You're so wise, Lupa. You are the wisest dog I've ever seen. Thank you for helping me on this beautiful journey of self-growth and transformation. Such a technological dog, look at that. Jokes aside, actually I still think my dog is super wise, but jokes aside, going back to our discussion on making changes that could impact our lives significantly through the lens of the ego, well, these people, my gosh, my hair is just so messy because of all the wind. This is a drawback of choosing places to shoot that have like a natural background, because normally I'm at the beach pretty much and it's pretty windy. But anyways, if you see me with hair in my mouth or hair in my eyes and all of that, that's just part of the show. Going back to our discussion on the ego. People that decide to take decisions through the lens of the ego are basically mainly thinking of the negatives of that choice, of that change. So if we think, for example, about breaking up with someone, people might think, oh my God, how am I going to do without his love? I'm not going to be loved by anyone anymore. We're only thinking about what we're missing out. If we think about going to another country, we think, my gosh, I'm not going to be able to connect with the people there. I don't know the language. I'm only going to find jobs that I do not feel satisfied from. Or changing a job, right? That is a very difficult decision. And I'm not talking about people that have a mortgage or that have kids. That's a different type of discussion. I'm talking about younger people that have freedom in front of themselves, right? And they can still take a lot of decisions that will not impact other people that much. They might say, I need that amount of savings. How am I going to do? It's going to be difficult to find another job, right? We all know the fears that go through that process of making a change. And I'm not saying that change is actually easy. I know that we all go through that process of hesitating and then saying, yes, I can do it. No, I can't. Yes, I'm ready. No, I'm not. And then we finally get to the stage where we say, it's time. But what I'm saying is that we can shift the perspective through which we can go through that process to really facilitate our transition towards a new timeline, a new version of ourselves. Also, if people are led by their ego, therefore fear, they wait until they're completely drained, until they don't have any more vital energy, and that energy could have been used so much more efficiently, until they have lost interest, they have developed apathy, boredom, or just frustration and stress, and they're not happy with their job, with their partner, with their life. Until now, we have only talked about the ego, but now let's totally shift our reality and look at change through the lens of the self. And I want to tell you about my own breakup and how I really shifted from that mentality of being scared of making that change to fully embracing that change. And I was literally reborn after that breakup. And I really hope that my story resonates with some of your fears and makes you find that extra courage that it takes to take that leap into the unknown and make the change that you need in your life. If I were to pick just one message from my experience, I would say we need to really transform that fear of change into faith toward change, to be able to embrace and feel the excitement for the mysteries and the unknown and the growth that lies ahead, that we do not know yet what it will be, right? When we make the change, we just need to have faith and believe that something great is going to happen. In this case, talking about my breakup, I was literally reborn after this breakup. So in 2022, I went to Australia with my partner at the time. And speaking of making changes, that was a huge change for me. I was absolutely scared because I was leaving my comfort zone, which was Europe, going to Australia, which is literally so far away. And I've been traveling for all of my life, but I've never been to a place that is so far from Europe. I do not regret it. It was probably the best decision of my life because it is in Australia, and after this breakup that I literally found who I was, and I'm still finding myself, of course. We got to Australia and the relationship was already broken. We were not feeling happy together. I did not feel seen. I did not feel sexy. I did not feel alive. I even felt dead a lot of times. And speaking of death, I think we need to die a lot of times. Sometimes we need to hit rock bottom to be able to get up again. It was not going well, and he did not feel understood. He was also not motivated by our relationship. We were not growing together. So it was definitely time to let go. But at first, I was really led by fear. I was scared of being left there by myself. So it was my ego talking, right? I was scared of finding myself alone in Australia. And breaking up is already something difficult for anyone. But if you're living in Australia, trust me, it's 10 times more difficult. But I got to the point where I simply decided to surrender to what my intuition had been trying to tell me for a very long time, to let go of that relationship. It was probably the best decision of my life because I was literally reborn after that. I remember that I was sitting on the floor with my friends, and we decided right after my breakup to just pull a few cards from an oracle deck, and everything talked about regeneration. This could not have been any more true because I literally went through a metamorphosis. I found myself again. I healed my sexual energy. I gained so much vital energy. I slowly but surely understood who I was and what I'm here to do, which is also like sharing my message and my experience and my learnings. I have even started my own business. I'm selling this jewelry that you see that I'm wearing. I'm also gonna be starting creating some beautiful diaries and just some customized products with my art. So if you want to support me on this creative project, if you feel value in it, I would really love and appreciate if you could support me by buying some of these products or giving a like, giving a comment, following my channels, my Instagram, and so on. Anything makes a difference because my goal is slowly but surely to just dedicate my life to this, at least at this stage of my life. I could not have felt more alive. I feel like I'm a totally different person, and I even saw my partner on vacation. And the bottom line is Don't escape change just because you're scared of the pain that will come from it, because there is a readjustment, there is a healing process that we'll go through. But trust me, it will be so worth it, and you'll find yourself in a totally different stage of life, and you will be so proud of yourself once you have gone through that process. And by missing out on the pain, you would have also missed out on all the beauty and all the growth. I hope this video was inspiring for you, and I'll be posting more content, so stick around. And last thing I was about to forget, every change is a small death, but remember, every death will be followed by a beautiful rebirth.